Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Wisdom Circle with a group of ladies today. We've got Terry Lee from Pure Visionary, SunPsychic Jean, Wisdom Seeker Joan, and Kigaru Terry Suzuki. And Wisdom Seeker Joan is going to be our presenter today. But what the Wisdom Circle is every month we pick a subject and somebody. Oops, sorry. Excuse me, I thought it was off. Each month, we each pick a subject to discuss and one person to present, and then the rest of us discuss with it. Every one of us has a different life path, but we're all here ascending. And so take what resonates and leave the rest. And please, ladies, say hello.
Namaste, everyone. Glad to see you out there. It's great.
Yeah, Viviani, Akila. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Indigo
Greetings
Jack.
to everybody. Thank you very much for coming. We're so excited. This is going to be such a wonderful show. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday. That's right.
Starting it off right.
So I'm going to turn it over to Wisdom Seeker Joan now, and she will take it away.
Okay, let's see. The dreaded PowerPoint. Here we go. But I promise you the slides will be quick. But first, thanks so very much for coming. I've been very interested in intuition for a long time. So when this opportunity came up to pick a topic, this was a natural for me. So, but I read a couple of books, and everything from books and YouTube channels to scientific research about intuition. And I think I came out knowing less than when I went in, or at least it seemed all the more confusing. But we can dive into it. I'll give you a little bit of some of the results of what I learned. So what is intuition? The short answer is it's a lot of different things. People think and believe that it's many different things. And that can include direct access to unconscious knowledge, or just unconscious cognition or knowledge itself. Intuition can be experienced as gut feelings, inner sensing, inner knowing. Some people think it's the ability to understand something instinctively without any need for conscious reasoning. And creative inspiration is also often thought of as intuition.
Interesting.
And that got me thinking, well, is it the same as all these other things? Psychic ability, precognition, all the clairs, instinct. Is intuition the same as unconscious access to pre-existing knowledge, something that's already there that you know, or unconscious access to previously unknown knowledge, something that's maybe out there in the ethers? And I was so intrigued by this that I started using, the Bing, which is not a search engine I use a lot, but it has an AI chatbot with it. So I started asking and saying, is intuition the same as all of these different things? And I asked a lot of questions, and it came back with lots of responses, varying from really, scientific or psychological research to more spiritual things. And then I started saying, well, in question 15, you said it was this, and now you're saying it's this. And so even AI couldn't quite figure it out when I was grilling it.
That's brilliant.
And people have been trying to define and describe it for ages. Plato said, intuition is a pre-existing knowledge residing in the soul of eternity, and a phenomenon by which one becomes conscious of pre-existing knowledge. So again, I'm not sure if in this reference, if he's thinking that pre-existing knowledge is within us or within the soul of eternity. But Carl Jung said, intuition is perception via the unconscious. It's using sense perception as a starting point to bring forth ideas, images, and possibilities by a process that it's mostly unconscious. And I kind of like that idea, that intuition is that first little spark, and it sort of kindles more things coming. Then you start to get the images or the words or the ideas, but it's that quiet little poof of intuition that starts it all, that may come from elsewhere. Even the Bible references what we have come to believe is intuition when it says a still small voice, or in some translations refers to it as a gentle whisper. And even Einstein said, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And I think that he said it. He was smart about more than physics. I think that was really very intuitive. And I think he's known for someone who would struggle with a problem, then go take a nap, and he'd wake up and, there's the answer. So yeah, he was using it well. From Echo BODINE's book, A Still Small Voice, she said, intuition is the part of us that's connected to the divine. It's commonly referred to as the higher self or the God within. This is the voice of God.
Beautiful.
Now, yeah, Echo was one of my early mentors. Over a decade ago, I started taking classes from her. And she continues to teach a class on intuition, living intuitively. And in her book and in her classes, she said she was very lucky to learn to trust her intuition from an early age because her mother was a psychic. And when Echo was a little girl, she'd go ask her mom, can I do this or can I do that? And her mom would say, check in with your tummy. What does your tummy say? Meaning the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra. And she was taught to just focus on that. And she would get the answer, either in a feeling or a voice or something.
How interesting.
Yeah. So one day she was invited to a friend's house for a sleepover and really, really wanted to go. So she asked her mom, Mom, can I go? Can I go? And her mom said, well, what does your tummy say? And her tummy said, no, it gave her a really sour feeling. But she let her rational mind and her desire to go to the sleepover override that. And she said, oh, my tummy says yes. So her mom let her go. And of course, later that night, she had to call her mother because she was homesick and wanted to come home in the middle of the night. So she learned from an early age that when you can tune in and trust or access your intuition, it's usually right.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. The other book I read was a woman named SARA WISEMAN had a book called Becoming Your Best Self. And she was talking about intuition and saying it's most likely that intuition will arrive in the guise of the belief system you prefer to follow. While the vocabulary may be different, the source is always the same. Divine, one, all, universe, the ineffable idea that we and the universe are one. So people who come from a religious background might talk more about God, and people from, whatever their background is, they use a vocabulary, but we're all kind of describing the same thing. And I wanted to tell one SARA WISEMAN story from her book. She had a really great example of intuition in a different way. She and her family were getting ready to go to a relative's house for Thanksgiving. And the kids and her husband were already in the car. And she was trying to finish up the last few things around the house before jumping in the car. But she kept getting this feeling that, no, it's not time yet. She would go to the door and just get this really bad feeling. No, don't go yet, don't go yet. And she walked out of the door once and just, walked right back in because she was just intuitively feeling that, no, it's not time to go. Finally, it took like 10 minutes and, the family's out waiting for her. She got in the car and they started down the road, and almost immediately they came across this woman who was jogging, and she flagged him down, and they opened the window and she said, I've lost my son, I can't find him. And right away, Sarah, who's a psychic, said, he's in the river, get in the car. And she got in the car and they drove quickly down to this river nearby. And there was her 4 or 5-year-old autistic son standing in the water in the river. And Sarah's husband went off to get him and they called for help. But she said that was a good idea of listening to your intuition when it doesn't make sense. Let's go to the things, our relatives are going to be waiting for us for Thanksgiving. But if she had not listened to her intuition and waited, they never would have seen the woman jogging by, and who knows what would have happened to that little boy. So it's always good to pay attention to your intuition.
Wow. Yeah.
People experience intuition in lots of different ways, but lots of times, lots of people have experienced the same kind of qualities, that it is a deep knowing, not a thinking type of thing. Someone said, if you think your partner is cheating on you, the rational mind will work over time and put together, well, there was lipstick on his collar, or he didn't come home on time last night, and just like build evidence like you're building a legal case. But if it's intuition and you're tuned in about what's going on with this relationship, you'll get a quiet knowing that this person isn't being honest with you. This person isn't being faithful. And it comes right away, and you don't have to like piece it all together like you're some sort of detective. So it's that deep knowing that you're not going to question. It's quiet and subtle, quick and to the point. It doesn't chat on. Sometimes it's a simple yes or no. In Echo BODINE's book, she talked about once coming to a stoplight, and the light turned green, and her intuition said no. And she said, what do you mean no? And it said, accident. No emotion or anything involved. And then, of course, somebody came barreling through the intersection and would have hit her if she had gone ahead on the green light. So those things happen too. So, and again, it's emotionally neutral. It wasn't a voice that said, don't go, don't go. There was no emotion to it. It was just accident. Non-judgmental. And it's available to all of us. We all have it. It's just like psychic ability. It's a matter of tuning in and developing it.
It just sounds exactly like when you're talking to your guides. All those same things are true. The non-judgment, quick answers, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just like doing any other kind of psychic work or spiritual work, the barriers, the acid to getting the answers that will just burn it away are the qualities of anxiety, judgment, fear, self-doubt, and overthinking. So those are, you might get that initial flash of intuition, and then the conscious mind jumps in and says, oh no, you're not good enough to do that. Or, yeah, it could be dangerous, or all these reasons not to trust it. So that's like one of the first lessons, is to learn to trust it. And for getting around those barriers, fear, anxiety, and overthinking, they all want to jump in and run the show unless you recognize and deal with them. And a couple of ways to deal with them is to ground yourself, either through a meditation or going outside or going for, taking a shower or something like that. And then just talk to your mind and say, I'll check in with you later after I consult my intuition. And when I was thinking about this, it came to me, I used to have, long ago, I had a dog that was a real water dog. He was part Gordon Setter and part Golden Retriever, and he just loved to swim. And if I would ever go anywhere and go swimming, like in a river or a lake, he would have to be there and try to save me, which was just not what I had in mind. And, he's a big dog and he's all over you. And it reminded me of what the conscious mind is like. We're so used to having the conscious mind run in everything that they're like that big Gordon Setter. They just wants to come in and take control and save you. And I've got all the ideas. I've got all of this stuff to, whatever. It's like, no, I know you're trying to help, but you just have to go sit in the corner just for a little bit while I check in with intuition. And many of us, myself included, aren't used to negotiating with your conscious mind to make it go sit in a corner for a while. So if you say, I'll consult you later, it says, no, I'm not going to forget you. So let's go through, and I'd like to know how you people experience intuition.
Can I also put a banner up for chat participation like that?
Yeah.
Would that be all right? All right.
Okay, there we go. There we are again.
We're back.
So
Those
anybody
are
wanna-
amazing stories.
They're
Yeah.
both really good books, and I recommend them. And in the description box on my channel and
Good.
in these slides, I've got some resources if anybody wants to go get them. Yeah, but anybody interested in telling a story about how intuition works for you?
Well, I was talking to everybody beforehand that I feel like intuition is like my life. You know, like it's hard to like say one thing. But what I found back in my working life when I was working at grant writing, I found that my intuition led me to which ones we should apply for and which ones we should not apply for, which ones we shouldn't waste our time with. And sometimes when I was doing that work, because this was a little bit before I recognized what's going on, sometimes I would get these knowings, which were the intuition, and I'd have to back up a sec and kind of reverse engineer it. How do you know that? What made you think that? And so I do know for me that there is a stepped intuition for me. So maybe we met with the grantors and I recognized their body language, that I picked up on body language that nobody else picked up. And then intuition may also have led me to use certain words. And I would know these words are going to make them give, and these words are not.
Wow.
You know, where basically the intuition kind of led me to where is their heart at? Find the heart, write the heart into the grant, you know. But I recognize that it was kind of a stepped process. I would often have to analyze it because after all, my very first job was as an analyst. So I got to.
Because that's what you do.
But you experience it all the time. Like for me, it's like, oh, don't drive down that street, drive down that street.
all
Don't
the
cook
time.
this, cook that. You know, things like that.
I think now that we're all awake, so to speak, that's exactly how I live my life.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter whether I'm going to the grocery store or I'm doing something in my own house. I follow whatever my gut says. But before that, I don't know. It's hard to remember before you used your intuition.
Yeah.
Can I pop up Craig? Craig
Yes.
is mentioning
Sure,
a few things
pop up
here.
anything.
He's saying feelings that come through, letting him know if something is right or wrong. That is exactly. That's exactly it.
Mhm.
And sometimes the inner guide voice is sweet and gentle, sometimes loud and clear. It depends on the application. Like, is it an accident or
Yeah.
get this fruit, you know?
Yeah, true.
Well, I know.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I know as a young woman and even as a young child, I always would hear and feel things very strongly, but I was always feeling it was like my angels, my guardian angels. And I feel that that's part of it. I mean, I really do feel like all these things come into play. But I do have an instance when I was young that really taught me to pay attention. And I was supposed to go to a dance club with my best friend. And I just felt like I shouldn't go. Don't go. Don't go tonight. Just don't go. And she was, a little upset with me that I didn't go. And I said, I really can't tell you why I just can't go. Well, it ended up that night, she was in a car accident. She was fine. She was on the driver's side, but the car had the most damage and wrecked into a gully where the passenger side, where I would have been, was the most damaged. And that really taught me as a young woman to, pay attention. I made the right decision. So it can be a physical thing that it saves us from, an emotional thing, or you might even feel it involving people that you should just not be around and that you should stay away from. You can't describe it. You just feel it and know it. And you just bless them and go on your way. Yeah.
That's very true.
That's so good. I had, until you mentioned it, I'd completely forgotten. I had a similar experience. where I just didn't feel like going out with my two best friends that night. And it turned out they were in a car accident. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So Indigo Jaguar says, recently I did not listen to my intuition and experienced a heartbreak. Perhaps it was meant to happen to make me aware of certain individuals and their energies.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for me to tell. Sometimes it's hard for all of us to tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Especially when you think back, and is it a chatty voice or is it a quiet, knowing voice? It really helps to break that down and go, wait a minute, that's my ego. It's too, that's got to be the monkey mind.
Well,
I
when I
think-
was
Go ahead.
I was just going to tell my story. Did you want to chime in on that last comment?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So the intuition that I can recall is when I was just out of high school, I guess, and we were all hanging out together, and we would go over each other's houses, and we would have a bunch of people, a bunch of friends, and we would have parties at different people's houses and stuff. And I would say, this one guy is up to no good. And they're like, no, Jean, he's nice. He's nice. I'm like, just, he gives me the heebie-jeebies. Just something is not right about him.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, he's cool. He's cool. You know, like you're being extra sensitive. So, you know, I kind of thought, oh, well, maybe it's just me. And it long story short, it did turn out that he ended up doing something that nobody ever thought that he would do. He was trying to break into a place at night and got caught. And everybody was so shocked because he was such a nice guy. But there was just something not right about him. And I just couldn't put my finger on it. And it was, you know, it made me feel bad that I felt that way. But it's important just to trust it. And, you know, it is a tug of war. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but you do want to be cautious when you have that kind of a feeling.
Definitely. And as you mentioned, it can be a feeling, or it can be a thought, or you can hear the voice. There's many ways people experience it. Have any of you? Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was wondering if anybody has had the experience of just out driving, and this was like before GPS, and all of a sudden they're driving for you. And I've had this happen a couple of times where I want to do something, and then it's like, well, no, you can go home this way now, or you can go this way. And all of a sudden I'm in part of the city I didn't know, but I found, I found what I was after. One time I was organizing some event, and we needed to have for the stage, like 6 huge mum plants, preferably all the same colors. And I went to a bunch of garden centers, they didn't have anything. And then all of a sudden it was like Jesus took the wheel or something. But I was just driving around in a suburb that I didn't know very well. And all of a sudden here's a Costco. And I thought, oh, they have mums in the fall. And I walked in, 6 huge mum plants, all the same color. And everybody loved it. It looked great on the stage. And that's happened more than once, but I think that was intuition driving.
Well, that's interesting because I had an experience like that. I was coming home from work from Dallas to Fort Worth in the Fort Worth Mixmaster. And I looked up and realized I was going to be in a wreck. I was going to get smushed. And I had a little Toyota that was it was tiny, and it was rush hour traffic. Big, huge trailers were around. And all of a sudden I felt somebody take over. And the next thing I knew, I was in the far lane where I needed to be. No wreck occurred at all. I have no idea how. And I have no idea how I got to that side of the road. It was like you said, Jesus took over. Only I think it was my father. I think my father had recently died, and he was a race car driver.
Oh, wow.
And I just asked him. I said, "Was that you driving the car?" And he said, "Yes." How cool was that?
We're learning things, and we're having a family reunion right here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I at that point, I wasn't aware that I could talk to him, or that he had recently died. So I was still in super grief mode, and none of that would have ever come to mind, because grief before awakening and grief after awakening are two different things, aren't they?
Yes.
Definitely.
It just
Mhm.
doesn't
Yeah.
make you as crazy. Or the anxiety's not there.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to pop up a couple of these. When I was in the military, my friend and I were invited to go fishing with two strangers, men. My gut told me no. My friend passed over 20 years ago. I was told that I saved her life.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds great. And Sonia says, yes, the other day I was confronted by a man who was irate. He was at the bus stop by the crossing of a crosswalk. I hit the light to cross, and by the exact time I got there, swiftly he moved to where I was. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. It's
Good.
important stuff.
Did we miss something here? The end of that?
No, I think what she's saying is that her trajectory, by following her intuition, her trajectory made her away from him. He was instant when she looked back. He was instantly where
Oh,
she
I
was
see.
going to be.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining. I didn't get that.
Great. Well, if you'd like, we can jump into, I've got a little video that has some intuition exercises. And I did a tape so that I wouldn't be stumbling around trying to do it, but it's really kind of 3 exercises in one. And
Should we
go
let
ahead.
everybody know to get a piece of paper if they want to participate, and something to write with a piece of paper? If you
Yes.
want to just grab something, it's that is helpful to know ahead if y'all want to, or you can play it back and do it later.
Yeah, if
Sure.
you have,
I have a pen and a piece of paper.
okay.
I'm talking about the chat.
I know you are. I know you are.
We're just setting good examples.
We're setting good examples for the chat.
Let's read another comment. When I was in the military, my friend and I were invited to go fishing with 2 strangers. Oh, I already did this one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We did that.
Memory is a horrible thing to lose. And did we do the
Here's-
Harbor Freight one?
No, we didn't do that.
Okay. This
You
is
haven't done it.
Craig. That happened at Harbor Freight Tool Store. I knew some guys who were up to no good. Shoplifters, grab and run. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good skill to have.
Oh, I have another good story.
Okay.
Heather and I went to Ireland, and we were trying to find a particular site in Southern Ireland. Drumbag Circle. It's a small circle. And we had GPS, and that damn GPS was leading us in circles everywhere. I wrecked the car practically. I felt like I hit a brick wall as I was going down these little tiny lanes. So I backed out and I said, we're not using that damn GPS. And I got back on the road. The car had no damage, and I could hear but the car had no damage. I don't know how. And I backed it up, and I started down the lane, and I'm telling you, we did not go 100 yards before we were where we needed to be without the GPS. Thank you very much. Intuition. We'd been looking for it for like an hour, and the skies were getting dark, and it was going to be too late. But when we got there, it was the perfect time. There was no one else there. We had it all to ourselves. So we managed to make it down there and do a little ceremony there and leave before it got pitch black.
Wow.
So you had your own GPS, or the
Apparently.
universal positioning system. That's cool. All right. Well, if everybody's ready, let's go into the video, and we'll do a couple of exercises on how to develop your intuition. Here we go. Hi, I'm Wisdom Seeker Joan, and I am going to lead you through 3 quick intuition exercises. Before we start, I'd like you to write down 3 things that you know about yourself, 3 things that you believe are true or you've had other people tell you are true about you. And not facts like your age or your height or how many kids you have or anything like that, but qualities that you have, like I'm a good dancer, or I really like kids, working with kids, or I'm kind of clumsy. Anyhow, just write those down really quick and then set it aside. And we will use your intuition to test whether or not those are really true soon. Next, we're going to do an exercise that is taken from a book by BODINE, one of my early mentors. It's called A Still Small Voice, and it's a really easy way to access your intuition. So first of all, I'm just going to read it for you here. So let's get comfortable. Sit with your feet on the floor and take a deep breath in and blow it out. And let's do this 2 more times. And the last one, in through your nose. Now ask the universe to clear you. Please clear my mind of anything that gets in the way of my connection with my intuition. Please clear my body. Please clear all the layers of my aura of anything that isn't mine to deal with. And finally, please clear my soul. The point of this is to get rid of the day's stuff so that you can go into this secret space without being distracted by the day or by the thoughts or energy of other people. Now you're ready for the meditation. So sit comfortably, uncross your arms and legs and ankles, and just take a couple more deep, relaxing breaths. Relax your shoulders and forehead. And now with your eyes closed, focus on your solar plexus, that area just a little bit above your navel, and use your imagination to visualize a white light, similar to a flame on a candle. And just sit with this image for a while and focus on it. Now imagine that the light is growing. And with each breath you take, imagine that it has a light, playful, creative, and loving feeling to it as you focus on it. Continue to breathe and to let the light grow and grow until it becomes so big that it envelops your entire being. Just let yourself be in this presence. And whenever your mind starts to wander, bring it right back to focusing on the light within you and around you. Every living creature has this life within it. So you are not creating something that isn't there. After you practice this for a while, when you come to this secret space, you'll automatically see the light or feel it, and you know that it is real. Keep your focus on the light, and now ask yourself if you sense a voice within the light. If so, listen to what it has to say to you. If you don't sense a voice, that's just fine. Just take note of anything that you get from your other senses. either your clairs or your physical senses. Now, at this point, we'd usually come out of this meditation and back into your body. But as long as we're here and you're in touch with your intuition or very close to it, take those 3 qualities that you wrote down one by one and ask your intuition to tell you through your physical senses whether these are true about you. Are you really a good dancer? Am I really clumsy? Am I really a good judge of people? Or whatever your qualities were. And just mentally or with the pen and paper, write down the feelings you get, or maybe you get images or words. You might be surprised by what you get. The 3 qualities, little exercise, and the following one are both adapted from SARA WISEMAN's book called Becoming Your Best Self. But it too starts off with coming to that place within you, being calm and centered as we are now. So we're just going to jump right into her exercise of getting in touch with intuition. Now close your eyes and imagine that your body is staying here in the chair or the sofa or wherever you're sitting. But your spirit is detaching from your body. And your spirit can look like whatever you like. You might observe your spirit and see it as a golden light or white light that's luminous, or it might be shadowy or misty. You might just get a feeling rather than an image, and that's not important. Simply notice what you experience when your spirit separates and floats above your body. And allow your spirit to float up above you and find a small crack around a window or door, or the seam in a corner between the walls and the ceiling. And let your spirit escape through these little cracks from the room that you're in, and allow your attention to go with it. And it rises up. Soon you'll be able to see or imagine your spirit looking down on your body. Maybe you'll see it from the rooms above you. Or maybe your spirit is outside and looking down on the roof of the building that you're in. You may see your spirit, sense that it's way out in space, looking down on you as a little pinprick on the planet Earth. Don't worry if you don't really see something. Any way you can see, visualize, or imagine this is just fine. Now, direct your spirit to see before it a vision, an image, a situation. And this vision will answer a question. It's a question that I haven't yet told you. How can you answer a question when you don't even know what the question is? Well, that's the way intuition works. And as you practice using your intuition, you'll become more comfortable with this. It will become as automatic as breathing. So take some time and ask your intuition to answer this question. Your spirit may move around to show you the answer, and notice what happens. Are there people that are in this vision? Are they people you know or people you don't know? Are there objects or animals or symbols? Watch this scene or image display itself without any judgment or expectation. You might see a small story play out, or you may get a quick flash, a feeling, or hear a word or phrase in your mind's ear. You might experience an emotion or have memories suddenly emerge. Simply notice and let what happens happen. Stay in this realm of exploration for a few more moments. Now gently come back into your body. Before you do anything else, write down what you experienced in as much detail as possible. If you aren't sure what you heard or saw or felt, just write down anything that comes to mind right now in this moment. And now that you've got your answer by what you experienced, here's the questions that your intuition was working on for you. What is the relationship or situation that requires my attention most right now? And what is the soul lesson, soul, S-O-U-L, lesson, that I'm being asked to pay attention to surrounding this relationship or situation? Take a moment to assess how your experience may have answered these questions for you. Remember, it might be symbolic or based on feelings, not words or images. And that's it. We'll take some time.
That was beautiful, Joan. Well done.
Yes, thank you. That was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're muted, Joan.
There we go. Anyhow, I hope that people were able to hear that. And I think the audio came through better than the video.
Yeah.
But yeah. Does
Well,
anyone...
Starfish says she's at her gynecologist. She's going to have to do it later.
That's just
way
fine.
to go, Jenny. I love it.
Yeah,
I'd
I'd
rather
like
be anywhere than gynecologist.
Oh, really? So that's kind of fun. The first one where you just kind of go in and see the light, echoes thing. She says, just do that every morning and every night and tune in and see if spirit has any, or if your intuition has any advice for you for the day. In the morning, you can kind of go through your calendar and they'll help you kind of rearrange. No, don't do that today, or do that first or last, or just help you with just organizing your day and then kind of going over things at night too. Yeah, I like that.
That's very cool. I've never thought about doing it that way.
Yeah. And also that if you keep up with that practice, sometimes you'll see images and sometimes words will come, and it's just a good jumping off point. But she makes the point of tuning into your solar plexus, whereas when I do, and maybe you too do psychic stuff, I'm more in crown chakra and above, reaching out more rather than inward.
Well, we tend to spend a lot of time in the upper chakras, and it's really important to balance that out with the work of
Yes.
the lower chakras. And the solar plexus is so important. And I never paid any attention to it for years because I was too busy. Oh, I like it up here. I don't want to be down there. But I realized you have to have that to balance. So being grounded is perfect.
Yes. And here's,
So do we want to share what we got?
yeah. And Craig will start us off. See what and how things truly are. Don't judge, observe, and understand.
Wow.
That's great. That's great for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you ladies get?
Priscilla, you go.
Okay. Well, on the first one, the qualities were strength, compassion, and my love for horses. I don't know. The animals, I think, is in general. And my intuition said, yes, that's true. And then added a bunch more, as they do. You know, that's not all. You're this, this, and this, and this. And then on the second experience, I found myself flying through space
Wow.
like an acrobat, or like those old timey airplanes that would do the rolls and do all kinds of acrobatic stuff in the air. That's what I was doing.
Oh,
And I'm
Cool.
like, I'm not sure I understand this, but I did. It's about freedom.
Yes.
It's about freedom.
Interesting.
I've suddenly become free.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of interesting. And it was pure joy, as you can imagine, doing all these acrobatic things. So I believe it had to do with freedom.
Beautiful.
Next.
Well, I wrote down for the three things: giving and caring. I am good with kids and animals, and I am a good vocalist. And immediately I heard, remember when people would tell you that and you would be embarrassed and not accept that compliment and try to just blow it off? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I just wrote that down. And they said that I'm growing. You're growing because you're able to look at these things and know that they're a part of you and accept that and be proud of it and be happy.
Awesome.
When we did the meditation, my soul was a white dove. And I kept looking, going, is this light? But no, it was a beautiful white dove. And it flew out the window. I have a window right across from me, and into a rainbow. And then what I heard was, now is the time. This morning, I just had a really powerful meditation. You know, we're in the 8-8 portal. So I had a really big manifestation meditation using Aham Brahmasmi, which is I am the universe. And it was just a beautiful feeling because I've done these meditations before, but never actually thought about that being a manifestation meditation. But that's what the universe does, is create. So
True.
I got that message in my meditation today, and it really uplifted me. So, and I love birds. So I'm really happy I was a dove. That's cool. Thank you.
Suzuki?
That was beautiful.
Well, I won't go into all three words, but the first word that about me was tenacious. Everybody has told me I'm tenacious, and I checked in about that one. They said, "Yep, that's true, but we're so glad now that you put down the sword like we asked you to, because you're so much more easy to work with now." And they showed me kind of a screenshot of me like building my shed and how hard it was and how to change something, and they're telling me I'm not quite that hard anymore. So
Cool.
And then I saw when we did the meditation, I floated up into the universe and I saw a family member in cloudy pastels, and they wanted me to tell them to put themselves first. They're always taking care of everybody else. They need to put themselves first. And then the message to me was, just tell them and let go. Don't own it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That makes a lot of sense.
Awesome.
How about you,
Wow.
Jane?
That was a lot of information. Mine was detail-oriented and compassionate and authentic. And they said that it was what I find most appealing in others that I value in myself, and that it's a mirror, and that this is the reflection that I'm seeking, in others. I'm looking for this, and it was one of the criteria when I built my husband, and I built him. I wrote down all of the qualities that was most important, and integrity was paramount, and it was a non-negotiable game changer, and he is quite the very, has a lot of integrity, and it's a beautiful thing. So when we went to our soul and experienced that, and drifted up and went to see, I saw what I understood to be a baby elephant, but it wasn't quite a baby elephant. I think it was the ET race that has that really broad nose, and that really, that like the anteater kind of protruding nose. I don't know what the name of that ET race is, but I kind of thought, oh, that's what that is. So they were kind of giving me a little bit of information there. And then when we had to answer the question that we didn't know, when we had to find the answers to the question we didn't know, I got a sombrero, mariachi band, and a fiesta. So
Wow.
I'm either dying for Mexican food or I'm going on vacation.
Sounds like it's party time.
Yeah. Mariachis. Woo.
Yeah. Cool.
Celebrate.
That sounds fun. Wow, what
Thank you.
interesting results. Did you do it, Joan? Were you able to do it?
I did just a little bit. I've done it a lot of times in preparing the video, multiple times. But this time I just asked real quick, am I smart? And this makes me wonder if it was my intuition or not, but it was like, you're smart enough. But it was more to the effect of, you've kind of what Terry was saying about putting down the sword. You've realized that there are other qualities that your combination of qualities make you who you are, and that's that's a good thing. That it doesn't mean that you're a bad person or you're less than because you're not as smart as some other people. There'll always be people smarter than you. They didn't go on and on like that, but
absolutely.
Yeah. And as far as the question that we didn't know, when I did it this time, I got just outdoor images of gardens and flowers and a bluebird that looks suspiciously like the old Twitter logo, and I, bluebird of happiness or whatever. But I think the situation that I'm supposed to be paying attention to is to be out in nature, because especially during these times, I feel I really have experienced the need to be out in nature, and it really grounds and heals me, even if it's just going out and weeding for a little bit. So that was good advice. Let's see if anyone else. Oh, thank you, Jean, for starring some of these. Spirit Watcher Suzanne, this exercise brought me to a past experience during a different season at the same location, a past memory. That's cool. And Craig said, you're a good and loyal friend, you're good at work, and can be brave for others that need it. That's beautiful. And that sounds like something that Spirit would say, or your intuition would.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I hope that this was, oh gosh, I've went way longer than I intended to, but I hope that this was helpful and interesting to people, and that
Very
you
good.
check out some of the other resources, and if you want to learn more about intuition.
I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed that, and I'm going to use those little meditations.
Anytime.
Thank you
Yes.
very much, Joan. And ladies, thank you for being here for the Wisdom Circle. And chat room, thank you. Next month, it will be Terry Suzuki, and she's going to talk about imagination portal. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it's going to be about.
That's going to be exciting. I look forward to that. So, ladies, do you have anything planned in the next day or two that you'd like to tell the chat? Any shows that you have coming up? Heather and I'll be back on the 15th with our shows once she gets settled and in Denver. And then we'll see what happens from there. Hey, Jewel.
Juno is going to be on my channel on Wednesday, I believe.
Yay.
So we'll have fun.
And what's your subject? What are you all going to be doing on Wednesday?
Oh, we're just going to get an update on Juno and then do some mini readings.
Oh, good. Oh, well, it'd be good to have an update, see if she's got her computer and everything going on. That would be wonderful. What about you, Jean?
I'm on Friday. I'm on Heather Indigo Jaguar's channel. They have a Friday night discussion that they choose a topic and then they answer questions about that topic, which I think is very interesting. And on Saturday, I will be on with Ginger Faye, and she's going to be interviewing me about my ghost story, about the ghost in my house. And she has a Tarot Paranormal or Tarot Normal. And she is really good at uncovering mysteries using tarot. And I love that. So interesting. It's so
I've
cool.
never heard of her. What is her channel's name?
Ginger Faye. Ginger Faye Tarot. Mm-hmm.
Is it like FAE?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was on her channel and she was on my channel. And
I missed that somehow.
Yeah. And we so it's going to be real interesting. And and then I'll be on. I have a busy weekend. I'll be on with Allie on Sunday, and then I'll be on with Terry Rayner after that.
Wow, you will be busy. Wow. What about you, Terry Suzuki?
I don't really remember.
That's okay. What about you, Terry Lee? Do you remember?
I'll be on live Thursday the 10th at 3:30 Mountain Time. I'm going to be doing a little light discussion with the chat and then doing readings. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun too.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, ladies. I love our monthly get-togethers. And chat, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.